Well, hello, Bart Wood, Bicycle Rider YouTube, and I'd like to talk about a bike that I truly believe in. This is one of my personal bikes. This is a Trek Checkpoint ALR-4. Of course, I own a bicycle shop, so a lot of my customers, a lot of my friends say, hey Bart, why are you riding a base model gravel bike? I'm a gravel bike guy. I love gravel racing. I actually compete in the Mississippi Gravel Cup. And last year I hit an overall podium, a third place overall podium in my age group. I'm 54 years old. And it's a highly competitive category because guys at 54 years old usually have enough money to buy speed and usually have time to train because you've kind of climbed the ladder in your position. So I'm not in that position. I gave up my corporate job and I now own a bicycle shop. So I work a lot. And I don't make that much money. But normally the bicycle shop owner can at least afford to buy, high level bikes. That's one of the perks of owning a bicycle shop. And I can do that, especially since, I work with Trek. I work with a lot of other bicycle companies and they like me to have their bikes and I can usually get things at cost or a little bit below cost employee discounts. But I chose the ALR-4 as my everyday gravel bike, something I can commute back and forth to work with, something that I can lead a lot of my urban group rides with, and something that I can go ride the gravel with. I wanted something that my customers can afford. I'm in Biloxi, Mississippi, so our customer base is not real high-end based. I have a lot of blue-collar workers that support my bike shop. These guys have families. They can't just don't have an unlimited budget for bikes. And in the gravel bike category, we're starting to convert a lot of people from mountain biking, from triathlon, from road to gravel. And I try to preach that, hey, you don't need the highest end gravel bike to go out there and run our gravel roads and have a good time doing it. So I'm riding an ALR-4, which is about an $1,800 gravel bike. When I'm on the gravel bike race scene, most of the guys I'm racing with have $1,800 into their rims. Speaking of rims, the only upgrade I've done to this bike is put a set of lawn Grapede wheels on it. So it's not even a real high-end wheel set. They're a very good value for $900. It's about a 1,500 gram wheel set with a 25 millimeter internal width. So it's a great wheel set. I'm going to keep testing these for lawn, for wind space. It's kind of a Chinese company, but they seem to be really legit compared to a lot of other bargain-based carbon fiber rim makers. I've got to be real careful about what I sell out of my bike shop. I bought my building. I've got to be there for about 17 years, and I can't sell junk because people buy from me because they know that I'm testing those products, because I believe in those products. I'm not going to just sell anything out of my bike shop. But the only Chinese carbon wheel that I will sell is a lawn. Now, this video is not about lawn, but I wanted to be honest. That is the only upgrade that I've made to this bike. And I say, wheel set is the biggest bang for your buck. It's also probably one of the most expensive wheel sets. And I'm used to spending $1,000 a wheel on upgraded wheels. Now, I've kind of made you guys might laugh at this, but I've made a super bike out of a base model bike by just simply adding a carbon set of wheels to it. Now, the stock wheels that come with this bike are great wheels. I just happen to have a pair of Grapedes. I did some horse trading and I got these really inexpensively for some other products I had. So I threw them on. It actually turned this bike, which is about 21-pound gravel bike, which is decent for a gravel bike. You don't need an ultimate light gravel bike like you do maybe a aero road bike or something like that. But I lost 2 pounds basically, completely stock. You can see I haven't even cut the steer tube on this thing. I built this thing around Christmas and I have been riding the fire out of this bike. And I did notice that when I put these carbon wheels on, it really woke this bike up. So I don't want to say anything bad about the stock wheel set. A lot of times you're buying an entry-level bike, a gravel bike, because you want something to ride and you might not have an extra $1,000 for rims. But if you find the extra money for $3,000 basically, you've got a bike. Like I'm going to compete in Mississippi Gravel Cup this year, 2025. I'm going to compete on this bike, you know, and like I said, I'm competing for a podium, so I'm not just competing to put a number plate on and be part of the scene, which there's nothing wrong with that. I preach that. I said, you know, gravel racing is about the gravel family. But I personally, you know, I like competing for a podium. And I feel like this bike is not going to hold me back. A lot of aluminum bikes will, but this Checkpoint, I love the geometry of it. I love the way it feels. There's a lot of things I like about this bike, and this particular bike has a SRAM Apex 11 speed. I have a kind of a love affair with this double tap Apex stuff. I got one years ago on a Marin Gestalt 10. So 10-speed drivetrain that I still have that works really good, and I beat the snot out of that bike. So I know if that Apex 10 was good, the new generation Apex 11 is awesome. And I do push this bike really hard. We've got a lot of urban assaults we do out of this bike shop. We're in downtown Biloxi, Mississippi, and we have some awesome loops that we do, and we ride really, really hard. So I don't just cap those groups off to just gravel bikes. There's a lot of road bikes that come out on these rides. So I'm still running these 40 millimeter GR1 tires. Everybody says is a slow tire. A lot of times I'm leading the group, you know, and we're pushing the pace on the way back. And I don't want to make it seem like I'm the fastest guy in town, because I'm certainly not. But we ride really hard, and it just seems that on the way back, it seems like I hit the shop, you know, in that front group most of the times. Most of the time I'm up there, I'm the leader. You know, I'm coming across that line first. Or I do a lot of pulling, and you know, I'm still going for a sprint at the end, and I don't feel like this is a great bike. This is a kind of a wild color that I pick. It's called Power Surge. I am the bike shop owner, and I wanted something a little bit flashy. My last bike, God, that was a great bike too. It was a Specialized Diverge carbon fiber comp Diverge, and I raced that last year. I was a Specialized dealer. In 2024, I became a Trek dealer. That's for a whole nother video, but I've got to say, after being a Specialized fanboy for 20 plus years and pretty much exclusively riding Specialized bikes and having a lot of success on Specialized bikes, and I'm not saying anything bad about Specialized bikes, but I'm not a Specialized dealer. I turned into a Trek dealer, and I've now turned into a Trek fanboy. Over the years, you know, you think about Cannondale, Trek, Specialized, Giant. Those are the big four. They make awesome bikes. And I'm never one to bash another company, especially now that I own a bike shop. I am a Trek dealer, but I'm not going to bash Giant bikes, Specialized bikes, or, you know, Cannondale bikes. You know, all these manufacturers are making darn good bikes. But I know as a bicycle repair technician, when people drop their Treks off to my bike shop and I unloaded those out of the car or put them up on the bench to do a pre-assessment, I always felt, man, those Treks are a dang good bike. You know, I've never been a Trek basher. And now that I'm a Trek dealer, I'm actually riding, racing, and experiencing these bikes. I see why Trek's on top of their game. I mean, they're putting a lot of value into their bikes, a lot of quality in their bikes. They are one of the big four, so you hear people bashing Trek just like you do Specialized, Giant, and Cannondale. But as a dealer, as someone who puts butts on bikes, and I'm not a total brand geek, I have to say, like, there's a lot of things I like about this bike. I mean, I like the T47 bottom bracket as a bicycle mechanic. I've always liked the Chris King Standard. This is a dub. Very solid. It's threaded. I don't have problems with it. I can unthread them, clean them, put them back together, and I haven't had to do it on this bike, and I do ride this bike in pretty grungy conditions. So T47 is a great thing. Trek has T47. The Trek Checkpoint has T47 as a bicycle mechanic. Pay attention to what bottom bracket you get on on your bike. You know, press fit was a big thing for a long time, and there's a lot of creaky press fit bottom brackets out there. T47, I've never had that problem with. SRAM Apex 11, it's not the highest end group set, but as soon as you get higher end group sets, you also get more pricey bikes. Now I do say, you know, don't go base model on a lot of your groups, especially a gravel group set. Get something with a, you know, something that's got a good spring on it, something that's got a clutch derailleur on it. I do like the Shimano GRX drivetrain system, but once again, that's a little bit, you know, higher price. So this SRAM Apex 11 has been very, very solid for me. This bike, the geometry is quick, it's nimble, it's comfortable. I don't always ride this bike hard and fast. I do a lot of group rides. So today I even did a ride. I called it the slowest group road ride on the Mississippi Gulf Coast. It was called Circle the Bay. We do it on the first Saturday every month. And it is for, those that are guys are starting to age out, that have been in the bicycle club for a long time, that you don't want to go rip their legs off. They help start this bicycle club. They're in their 60s and 70s. They still want to ride bikes. So we also have a lot of people that are dusting their bikes off. Summer has been hot, and a lot of people put their bikes away. They're now getting them back out on the road. Get a lot of people that are interested in riding, but have never really been in a pace line. So today was a slower ride, and I was able to be very, very comfortable on this bike riding slow. But I do like when it gets dicey and we can advertise those urban assaults. As soon as the time changes, we'll do it on Thursday nights. We get the lights out and we roll hard through Biloxi and Ocean Springs. And I use a gravel bike. Some guys are on their road bikes. There's definitely advantages to being on a road bike when you get on the open road, and we do have some open road. But anytime we're dicing up through the rougher roads, the gravel bike seems to be, what I like. I did say that the only upgrade I did to this bike was the carbon fiber wheels. I did change out. Redshift Sports is one of those companies. I do sell their products, so I like to use their products. I'm not going to really call it an upgrade because the stock stem that came on this is actually a little bit lighter, and it worked just fine. But I do like the extra comfort of having just a little bit. Gosh, and I've got a pretty tight elastomer in there, but it does give me just a little bit of dampening. I'm 54 years old, and I work a lot, so I went up a few grams to get the Redshift Sports stem. They do have a lighter model. I haven't tried it out. I've had this stem for a while, so Redshift Sports builds good stuff. And I put it on this bike. I've got a bell on this bike, but we ride on the multi-purpose beach boardwalk, and I do own a bicycle shop, and I ride a lot with my logo, so I try not to just blow people off the sidewalk. I let them know, hey, I'm coming around you. I use it in the gravel races when I'm making a pass. To me, it's a little bit, it's polite. It's a spur cycle bell. It's probably not as aerodynamic, but, there's just some things I put on my bike. I put on a light just because I am the ride leader a lot of times, and it does let people on our sidewalks and on our roads know we're coming. But you don't need, I put on a GoPro mount and a Garmin because I like taking videos. But you don't need all this stuff on your bike. And they do put a nice aluminum handlebar on this bike with a good flare to it. So this is just a comfortable cockpit. I still have the stock bar tape on this. Trek wrapped this bike with some, I don't even have to wrap this when I take this out of the package, out of the box. Trek wrapped this really, really nicely. It's been a hot summer in Biloxi, Mississippi. Our heat index has been over 100 degrees, and I ride on a regular basis. I've sweated all over this bike. I cleaned it up for this video a little bit. And yeah, this is kind of my new studio. People were complaining about my lighting, so I turned my retool studio for the night into a bicycle studio. A lot of people ask me about this. This is for the price, you do get a mechanical disc brake set. So this is the Tektro brakes. Mechanical means it's a cable operated brake, and it's on a 160 rotor. I don't have problems with these brakes. Every once in a while, I've got to replace a cable. I haven't replaced the cable since I bought this bike. I've had it since Christmas, and I ride it a lot. But as we start doing more gravel riding, and I'm riding in the grit and the dirt and the gravel, I'm going to have to replace this cable sometimes. There's just inherently, the way this is mounted up, grit can get into this get introduced into the housing down here and kind of make this, this cable bind up a bit. I've never had it happen on this bike. And some of the cable operated bikes that I have owned, about once a year or so, I've got to replace a cable. Cables aren't super expensive. If you've got any mechanical knowledge, you can do it yourself or drop it off at the bike shop. We charge, I don't know, $30, $35 to replace a rear cable in it, so it's not a big deal. You can see I've got a little fender on there. We rode in the rain this morning. And then I've got to open up the bike shop and work all day. So it keeps me from having that big stripe on my back. Of course, I've got a little bag down here with some tools and stuff. Since this aluminum frame doesn't have the integrated storage that I'm kind of spoiled with my higher end gravel bikes. But I put a nice little bag in there, I put all my stuff in there, and then put a fender on there. This bike is ready to rock. You know, I probably won't race it in this configuration. I'll strip it all down, except for my trusty bell. And I probably could leave my GoPro mount on there too, because I like to do some GoPro footage as I'm racing. But this has been a great bike. I really like the Trek Checkpoint in the ALR-4 edition. Obviously I like it because I bought it for myself, and I ride the heck out of this bike. It does not slow me down. Of course, I would love a new Trek SLR to race Trek. You know, listen, I can't, as owning a bike shop right now, I can't afford a Trek SLR right now. I can't even really afford a Trek SL. So this bike is in my budget. Like I said, it was about $1,800 retail, and $1,000 for the rims. It was really like $800 for the rims. But say $3,000, just roll it off. $3,000 for a bike that's super, super capable. Comes in at about a little 19.5 pounds with the upgrades I did. And then I added a little bit of weight to it with the Redshift Sport stem and my geeky bell and a light and stuff like that. But for commuting, I think, you know, the safety factor of having some lights and stuff keeps me from getting hit with cars, and keeps me from, you know, I can open up the bike shop without getting injured. So anyway, I ride this bike. I ride this bike a lot. Any questions on the Trek Checkpoint ALR-4? I'm going to say it's one of the best bangs for your dollar. I work on all brands of bikes, and I work on a lot of base model stuff that doesn't hold up like this bike does. I don't, you know, I mean, Canyon. The direct consumer brand Canyon, we're going to stop working on those bikes. You know, and you get a good spec for price, but be careful. I mean, if I have a problem with a Trek, I call up Trek and call up the warranty department. They answer the phone. I love selling Trek because they stand behind their products. There's a small bike shop in Biloxi, Mississippi, and want to support your local bike shop. I mean, they need you right now. We're hurting. You know, I mean, the bike industry is hurting, and we are competing against these big conglomerations and factory stores and direct consumer brands. There's a reason that, you know, I sell Trek, because they back me up. They answer their phone. If I call up Trek, I had to try to call Canyon the other day to ask a question about a weird proprietary part that they had that I can't just go buy from QBP or JBI or anything. I had to hang up because I only had about 45 minutes, and it took me that long to even try to get someone on the phone. And then when I told them that I owned a bike shop in Biloxi, Mississippi, they told me they're a direct-to-consumer brand. They didn't really want to talk to me. So, waste of money. I had to charge that customer close to $65 for that phone call because it was an hour's worth of labor, and we charge $65 an hour. That doesn't make me any money as the owner. Believe me, overhead eats that up. So don't expect your local bike shop to be put on hold with these direct consumer brands. And if you do, expect to, you know, just pay. I'm not trying to make any money. I'm just trying to cover my wage for the, you know, for the hour that I was on the phone. And the bad thing is I didn't get a resolution. Buy from your local bike shop and buy a brand that you know, that your local bike shop has a good reputation with, has a good relationship with. I can call my rep about anything on this bike, and they'll answer the phone. And if my rep doesn't answer, I can call directly to Trek, and they answer the phone. They're real people with real riders. And just like me, I'm a real rider. I own a little bike shop in Biloxi, Mississippi called Biloxi Bicycle Works. If you have a local Trek dealer, please support your local Trek dealer. If you don't have a local Trek dealer and you're around the Mississippi Gulf Coast and you want to know about this bike, or you want to come to some of our rides, look at our Facebook from today, our Facebook or Instagram. It was called Circle the Bay, and you can see the rides we do. Pretty soon when the time changes, we're going to do an urban assault. So I love to ride with my customers, and that's one of the reasons I love selling Trek bikes, because when I ride with my customers, they're not complaining. They like these bikes. there's a lot of awesome gravel bikes on the market, and I'm not saying don't go buy a higher end bike than this, but if you're just diving into gravel, or you've got multiple bikes already and you want to start doing some gravel riding, think about just getting an aluminum bike with a solid Grupo on it and maybe upgrade the carbon wheels and let it eat. That's what I'm gonna do. So anyway, if you like what we do on Bicycle Rider YouTube, just like and subscribe. It helps me take the time to do these videos and lets YouTube know that you guys are watching me. Even today, I mean, I'm just finished. This is a Saturday afternoon, and rather than going out with my friends tonight, I'm making a few videos just to share the truth about these bikes. I'm not going to review things I don't ride. I don't sell things out of my shop that I don't believe in. And if you have any questions on the Trek ALR-4, I mean, it's got a great saddle. I haven't had to change my saddle. Like I said, the rims, I hear people complaining about these team issue GR1 wheels. I set them up tubeless. They set up super easy, and they ride fast. I was ahead of the group today. I'm usually ahead of the group. It's a cool bike. There's mounting points all over the place. So if you want to do some bike camping, or for me, I do some commuting, and I am going to do some bike camping. I'm going to use this bike, and then I'm going to race it this year, the Mississippi Gravel Cup. We also have a local time trial series, so I'm going to jump in on that too. So ride hard. Don't spend a whole lot of money, and check out one of these Checkpoint ALR-4s. They're cool bikes. If if you're in the Biloxi, Mississippi area, you want to see this bike in person, I ride it to work just about every day. So it's here at the shop. I'm a size 54 medium. It says that at 5'9" and with a 32 inseam, I should be on a size 54. I'm right on the cusp. I've ridden the size 56 with my body, and it just feels big. So the 54, I'm on the big scale of 54, being 5'9", 32 inseam. I'm 150 pounds, and a 54 fits me fine. I don't want to ride a bigger bike, but I also am throwing this into some pretty hardcore situations. If I was maybe going to ride this across country and use it as an adventure packing bike, I might go for a 56, but this bike fits me great as a 54. And there's a lot of features to this bike that I didn't go over as far as, all the specs, but you can read that on the Trek website. I mean, I can tell you it's got a 42 tooth chain ring and a 1134 cassette. I mean, all that's important stuff, but I don't want to, I'm more about, there's a lot of good YouTube reviewers that'll tell you every spec on this bike. If you call and ask me, I'll tell you what's on this bike, but you can read a lot of that off the Trek website, or go to the Biloxi Bicycle Works website, and I have the specs right on there too. So just know this is a kick-ass riding bike. That's a kick-ass riding bike at a fantastic price point. So any questions or any doubts on the ALR-4, come ride with us. Come ride gravel, come ride urban assault, come ride road. This is a great bike for multiple things, and I like the looks of it too. I was really sold on these drop seat stays like the Diverge had for a long time. I like the way this rides. I like the way it looks. It's kind of more of a classic design that I grew up with, but this bike kicks butt. Hey, like and subscribe, Bicycle Rider YouTube. Help support me and my channel. And any questions, help support my little bike shop here in Biloxi, Mississippi, so we can stay in business. Support your local bike shop. Don't buy everything off the internet. Your local bike shop supports its community. We do group rides. We help people that live around here. We donate bikes to kids. I don't know. Local bike shops they were part of this neighborhood. I love being a local bike shop. So, support your local bike shops, because I don't want to do something. I don't want to go back to accounting. I like owning a bike shop. So anyway, thanks for supporting the channel. Thanks for supporting the bike shops. And just remember, this Trek Checkpoint ALR-4 is a really good bike for the money. All right, thank you.